The rest of the week flew by, and Jennifer seemed distant from me. On a school night evening, a couple of days after our intimate encounter, I tried to entice her into another erotic moment together, but she seemed disinterested and worried about other things.
I have a headache.
She claimed she had schoolwork to do, but I never saw her pick up a pencil or even read a textbook that night.
Not even a textbook?
Not even a textbook.
God.
I bet she didn't even look up anything on Wikipedia either.
No.
I know. It may have been that time of the month, so I didn't think too much about it. I was having my own second thoughts about the relationship, wondering if this was truly what I wanted, and how the ramifications would affect my family life and closeness with other friends. As the weekend neared, I kept trying to call Alexia, but she never answered her phone or responded to texts. I feared that girl may have forgotten to pay her phone bill recently,
Or had been Slenderboned.
and I desperately wanted to try and get the movie finished as soon as possible. I know the actors were getting agitated. Wow, that's just a completely sudden change of tense.
We're now in present tense, present tense, present tense. Was this even proofread once?
I don't think so. I know the actors were getting agitated by their director's sporadic appearances and changing personality. It was a quiet Saturday night when my phone buzzed. Jennifer was gone for the night, and with no homework to do, I was relegated to the computer screen, browsing the internet.
BS! I call BS. There's no such thing as no homework in college. Ever. Ever. Ever.
No. Ever. The sudden ringing nearly made me jump out of my chair, and I looked at the front to see who was calling.
Ouch!
It was Alexia!
I fell on my dog bone.
Hello? I asked, putting the device to my ear. Silence. Only a distinct crackling of static every few seconds, as if the phone was being moved around. Hello? I asked again. No answer. As I was about to put the phone away, I heard a voice on the other end, female and barely audible. It was Alexia. What's going on? Jamie, the voice said, hardly than a whisper. Jamie, I need you to meet me at the park. At this time of the night? Are we finishing the movie? I started to grab my things and slip on my shoes with the phone still pressed against my ear. No. Then what is it? Alexia? There was a long, drawn-out moment before I heard her voice again. Please, she pleaded, please meet me in the park. She sounded distraught and worried, perhaps on the verge of tears. Before I could say anything else, the line went dead, and I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. The clock on the dash was well past 11 at night when I arrived at the deserted place, a park just on the edge of town.
That's not late in college.
It was a fairly unremarkable landmark of the community, with a few paths through wooded areas, picnic tables for families, and a small playground. Alexia was already waiting for me as I got out of the car, holding a black jacket tight around her body. Jamie, she said, coming closer to me, there's something I need to show you. For a moment, I thought the girl to have gone mad.
Why?
I thought the girl to have gone mad. That's really, no. Or maybe she was up to some devilish joke to scare me out in the middle of the night. Perhaps she was going to prank me with that Slenderbone crap again.
There's gonna be a wardrobe! It's gonna be black!
What is it? Couldn't it wait until tomorrow?
Narnia.
Alexia shook her head and started walking in towards the wooded area of the park. Where are you going?
Now we're gonna play good idea, bad idea.
This way, she responded. It was blistering cold out here, much more than the centre of campus.
Blisteringly cold.
I found myself wrapping my arms around my body, shivering as I attempted to warm my torso up. The neckline of my sweater didn't come high enough to protect my face. Do most necklines have sweaters?
Thank God I'm wearing my sweater!
We can both be warm and outlaws! As sharp gusts of wind stung my cheeks, I looked at the girl walking next to me, who appeared to be moving with the pace of a drone more than a human being, emotionless, and without any sort of character I would come to expect from her. Won't you tell me what's going on? I asked again. Not much longer now. While the moonlight offered some sort of luminance in the dark sky, the high branches and leaves of the forested area prevented that from being any sort of help. Now it was darker than ever, with only an occasional street lamp next to a park bench to guide us along the sidewalk. What a helpful street lamp.
Very helpful.
Hello, ladies, it's right this way. Not to worry,
Come along.
May I offer you some luminance while we're here? Look, I said, if you're trying to scare me or something, just forget it. I don't believe in your Slenderbone stories, and I never will.
Why is she immediately jumping to Slenderbone here? Seriously, this is all her right now.
Everyone jumps to Slenderbone, apparently.
Everyone jumps to Slenderbone.
While I turned to continue walking next to my friend, I heard a deep, raspy laugh coming from her mouth. If my friend started making that noise, I'd be running.
Prudent.
That's just the thing, she smiled, with piercing white eyes that seemed to glow without the help of any sort of light around us.
But the street light was so helpful before.
It's your turn. For God's sakes, Alexia, what are you talking about? I stopped. What? What? Did you think having sex with another girl would get you off the hook?
This week in things that are not okay.
This! Jesus, look, is that what this is about? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep it from you. It's just that. I can feel him, she cut me off. He's close. Listen to me. Yes, Jennifer and I have been together for a while. I was going to tell you when it seemed right to do so. He's watching us right now. I wanted to say more to her, but something stopped me. It was as if there was a pair of eyes watching us from the tree line. Suddenly I felt open and vulnerable as the hairs on the back of my neck stood straight up and goosebumps formed all along my arms, feeling the gaps between the ones there already from the cold weather. I'm pretty sure goosebumps don't work that way.
You could Google Slender Man, you couldn't Google basic human anatomy.
I'm sorry it had to come to this, Alexia said, looking me in the eye. But like any other girl, you had your chance.
Okay, dude, when you're in college, you're like 18, 19. You don't have to have sex by then. A lot of people haven't been in healthy relationships at that point.
Nope.
Da-da-da. I had my first boyfriend when I was 20. That's okay.
I had my first one when I was 18. That's also okay. And it lasted 2 days.
It was beautiful.
God, would you stop talking like you're crazy? If this is one of your spooky tales to scare me with, I told you, I'm not falling for it. Stop it. Like I said, she started, her eyes focusing on something behind me. It's not a tale.
I'm uncomfortable right
Perhaps
now.
it was the bright white of her eyeballs, or the distinct feeling of something standing behind me. But, with shaking limbs and deep breaths, I turned on toes and struggled for balance. Amongst the row of dark shadows and the outline of trees beyond the sidewalk, I saw nothing but the movement of branches and the dancing moon behind swaying leaves. My eyes darted between the tree trunks, scouring the horizon for movement. It was too dark to make out anything, and for as long as I squinted into the distance, I felt like someone was watching us. Then, something grabbed my attention off to the right, and just beyond the concrete path, I saw a shape moving behind the trees. It was a wardrobe! It was slow as I watched it, a towering figure of inhuman heights, but truly organic and not a mixture of the surrounding environment.
What?
Nope, he was not raised on chemicals and additives with this one. Truly organic and free range.
Possibly an ent.
Little virgins.
I bet you there is Treebeard Hobbit porn.
Well, of course there is.
No.
There's everything porn in Lord of the Rings.
No.
Raping trees is actually a pretty common trope in horror films. Have you seen The Evil Dead? If you don't like raping trees, then don't.
I don't like raping anything.
No. Trees are somehow... It was slow as I watched it, a towering figure of inhuman height, but truly organic and not a fixture of the surrounding environment. With each pass out into the open, I saw a hint of his body, like a part of the arm or the shoulder, before he disappeared behind a tree and never came out from the other side.
But then how did she see him again?
I imagine he passes behind one tree and then reappears right behind another tree.
That's a cool trick.
Yeah. The figure was much too large to hide behind the trunk, so it was as if he simply vanished.
Or, he's really skinny. He's Slender Man.
Did you see that? I turned, expecting to find Alexia standing behind me. Only there was nobody around.
I'm not around!
The path was empty as far as I could see. Alex! I cried out, cupping my shivering hands around my mouth to amplify the sound. Only, after a few yells, I heard nothing of any sort of response.
Where is that helpful street lamp now?
Oh no, there's nothing of any sort of response. God damn it! As I frantically looked for my friend in the wavering darkness.
Wavering darkness!
And looming shadows of the park, I felt an increasing need to turn around as if someone, or something, was right behind me. It was that feeling like being chased in a dream with a predator right on my heels. Only, no matter how hard I tried and how fast I ran, I could never get away. But as far as I could tell, this wasn't a dream. He was human in proportion, but far above any man I had ever seen before. It took me a moment to differentiate him from the backdrop of tall trees and limbs, but once my eyes focused on the gargantuan figure that stood on the sidewalk, not more than 20 feet away, I screamed and turned to run.
I would have run so much longer before now. I would have been gone. Like, as soon as somebody was out in the trees, I'm like, okay, done.
I gotta say, as soon as my friend called me to ask her to meet them at the park, I'd been like, but I'm on the internet. I've got to reach the bottom of my Tumblr dashboard, or I'll miss some stuff.
Oh God, yes.
As soon as my body rotated to bolt down the path, I ran into something standing between me and an escape. My head slammed into something hard, and I stumbled backward, landing on my ass on the cold concrete.
You know what the hard thing you ran into was? His Slenderbone.
For a moment I still feared the thing behind me, and I hurriedly prepared to stand up and run, except he had already caught up and was standing just inches in front of me. Jesus Christ! What are you doing here? No, it's actually Jesus Christ, what the fuck? He was a man, but... Joke. I did. But he was a man. But as much as the devil himself could look like a human being, he wasn't really a man, more than his general appearance pretended to be.
That was not well formed.
Suddenly I felt a piercing headache, like a drill was forcing itself into my scalp,
Ow.
grinding against the very bone that kept my brain intact.
Ow.
The street lights next to me flickered as the figure appeared and disappeared into the overwhelming darkness with each flash. No, I panicked. No, I screamed. You can't be real! Through the pulsing pain surging through my head and with blurry eyes, I traced his figure. Some paper I brought with me, standing over me by what seemed to be the height of a small house. He was wearing a suit, like a businessman, perfectly framed for his incredible body.
This is Barney's tailor.
And inhumanly proportioned for a man of his stature. I don't like where these inhuman proportion comments are going. Even though he wore something that a man might have adorned, that's where the similarity stopped. I looked up into his face, desperate to see the eyes of my attacker as I slowly crawled backwards, dragging my body along the path. This man, no, this creature had nothing of the sort. No mouth, no eyes, no discernible features on his face except the skeletal structure of a human being. He has the entire skeletal structure of a human being on his face?
That's unhealthy.
There were no openings to breathe, and none to see with. I screamed as loud as I could, straining my voice as an arm reached out to grab me, an alien-like appendage that must have been as long as I was tall. Wow.
I really don't like where these...
I really don't like where this is going. When his fingertips touched my head, I instantly stopped moving, completely halting my body on the earth beneath him. From the moment his flesh and bone were near my face, a strange scent entered my nostrils. It was something that frightened the very core of my body and scared the last remaining wisps of courage that remained. Death.
What?
He smells of death.
Oh!
No, I panted, my voice giving in to some invisible force that encapsulated my entire body, chilling the bones in my legs and freezing my arms at my sides, preventing them from diverting the intruder's grasp on my head. It was as if my body was giving in to his intentions, relaxing for whatever came next. Slenderbone. It was a creature that dominated the crest of my wildest imaginations, something which I never believed was real as the cold gusts of air upon my body, or the hardness of the pathway beneath my rear. Now I was questioning my own perception of reality, wondering if this was a figment of my imagination, or the worst encounter that a young woman could ever wish to be true.
Yeah? Yeah?
Why would you ever wish a worse encounter to be true? There was no pulse in his pale hand. Are there normally pulses in hands? I'm not feeling it. And you definitely wouldn't be able to feel it through the top of your head. Nope, not feeling it. You must be Slenderbone!
My secret is out!
As his pale fingertips glided along my cheek and underneath my chin. No hints that this man was truly a living animal, or just a representative of hell itself. Maybe he was a demon, coming to take my soul for the underworld, punishing me for my sins. Being a lesbian!
No! Nothing is worse than that! The Bible tells me so. Or at least the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah!
That's the same thing.
Each time his long, pale digit scraped along my skin.
We've had encounters with digits before. She enjoyed it last time.
I felt a spark between his hand and my body.
Ow.
And the fears that swept through my mind were erasing with each passing second. It was like this creature had some sort of hypnotic trance, like a supernatural tranquilizer passing through my body. In just a few moments, the incredible fear and anxiety washed away into relaxation and calming. Mind rape!
I'm suddenly okay with this.
No! I could still feel my conscience deep down inside, but it was buried beneath a pile of forced emotions, like a dam keeping my will to escape trapped far down below. I knew I wanted to run for my life, to never look back behind me, only the will to do so never passed into my arms and legs.
Sorry, chunked that.
I was merely a slave to his touch, a submissive partner as his next victim.
Not okay, this is not okay at all.
Well, the thing is, that what disturbs me is the guy who wrote this. Clearly he wrote the lesbian love scene because that was one of his fantasies. And now he's writing this.